So now we're going to solve Billy Graham, one of the greatest evangelists of all time. An evangelist equals 114, divides by 3. Okay. But Billy Graham, both words, Billy and Graham, divide by 3. By the way, there's another person called Benny Hinn. Both Benny and Hinn divide by 3. By Divine Ordinance, folks. But so Billy Graham equals 108 equals worship equals love plus love. And we're led by God to find the two loves in Billy Graham. I already did it on the computer over here. I'm just going to copy what I grabbed. ILYH. There's many ways you can find the pair of loves in Billy Graham. This is just one of them. 33 plus 21 equals 54 equals love number 1. And then the rest of the letters, obviously, 30 plus 9 plus another 15 equals love number 2. So Billy Graham equals 54 plus 54 equals love plus love, and you can find the two loves. Billy Graham equals worship. Billy divides by 3. Graham divides by 3. Now you know what. Billy Graham exists with the exact name that he does. It's for the glory of the Triune God. And there was a predecessor known as Billy Sunday. Have you heard of the preacher Billy Sunday? Well, Sunday divides by 3 and Billy divides by 3. Billy Sunday adds to 144 perfectly, 12 times 12. That's it. Good night. Like I said, Benny Hinn. Benny divides by 3 and Hinn divides by 3. What touches me the most about this, folks, is that they're very boyish names. It's very intimate to call someone Billy. And it's very intimate to call someone Benny. Benny Hinn. His full birth name is Benedictus. But everyone knows and everyone calls him Benny Hinn. They say Pastor Benny. They even call him Pastor Benny. Okay? Benny, it's almost like a pet name. It's very intimate. It's like a friend. Billy Graham. Billy divides by 3. Like, and it's obvious because every center letter in Billy divides by 3 all by itself, and the bookends make 27, which is 3 times 3 times 3. It's obvious, the word Billy. It's obvious for the glory of the Trinity. What does Billy equal? It's, wow. It's 33 in the center from those 3 letters that all divide by 3, plus 27, the perfect cube of 3 in the bookends. That's 2 puzzle pieces waiting to get married. 27 plus 33, that equals 60 perfectly. Billy. Billy equals holy, equals pure, equals pray, equals believe, equals desire, equals word, equals diamond, and on the famous 60s. Okay? It's called the first word, holy, equals 60 on every Bible. Holy Bible. Holy equals 60. That's what Billy equals. Now you know what. It's for the glory of the Trinity. And that's how God, the Triune God, takes the glory for Billy Graham and everything that ever happened in his life. God provided him with the grace. God provided him with the desire. God provided him with the team. God provided all the people and built all the stadiums through various people that he spoke to. God did everything. Okay? Billy Graham said it quite well in his final historic goodbye video to America when he said, God has done this. Exactly. God is sovereign. God gives the grace for everything. So, and then what does Graham add to? Well, it's obviously 60 points less than this. Graham is 48. That's insane because both divide by 12, differing by 12 exactly. Billy, 60. Graham, 48. 60 plus 48, 108 divides by 12. And then I encourage you to find 12s in that. 2 L's is 12 plus 12. The rest knits together to make 36. Triple 12. Over here in Graham, it looks a little more challenging to me. I see, wow, look at the beauty of the name Graham. I mean, I think of graham crackers. I like graham crackers. I had those things all the time as a kid. Especially when you like, oh man, graham crackers. And you use those things for like s'mores around the campfire. And you would like snap them. Oh, we used to get those in our lunch all the time. Graham crackers. Crackers divides by 3. So graham crackers divides by 3. We got to solve that as soon as we're done with Billy Graham. So watch this in Graham. This is, or just listen if you can't even see the board. You've got 3 teams once again that go up in 3s. It just keeps coming, folks. Or no, sorry, you've got a 15 plus a 15 plus 18. I thought it was 21. No, 15 plus 15 plus 18. Wow, very beautiful, very, very close to each other. Equals 48. So, fascinatingly, Or you can do 9 plus 18 plus 21, but fascinatingly you can't really get a lot of 12s individually out of that, but Billy Graham. So now let's solve Graham crackers. Billy Sunday is easy to do the same thing with, okay? But I want to solve Graham crackers, okay? So crackers divides by 3, so Graham is 48. So crackers is 12, 15, 33, 36, 60, crackers is 78. So 78 plus 48 yields 126. So Graham crackers is 126, which divides by 3, and that is 3 times 42. Wow, which divides by 42 is a double of 21, which is king for number 3. So good night, we've just solved all Graham crackers. Beautiful, lovely. But in particular, marvel that Billy Graham equals 108 perfectly, love plus love. God has been leading us to find love in everything that we solve. So. And then Billy Sunday is very easy to find love because sun equals love, and then day equals 30 points. And then so you can find love plus love in Billy Sunday very easily. Very easily. Just from sheer memory of various 54th sun, as in the sun in the sky. That everything, I was marveling as I took a walk in the spring here in Langley, British Columbia, everything is in bloom, blossom trees everywhere, and tulips everywhere, and I was just marveling once again how every single tree and every single plant, especially the trees with their spreading branches, okay, are all reaching for the sun, literally. They have spread their branches and their leaves in all directions as far as they can so that they can maximize the amount of sunlight coming to them. Okay, if everything in creation is doing that, don't you think you should get adequate sunshine per day? Absolutely. Adam and Eve lived in pure sunshine. Okay, there were no clouds in Eden. There were no clouds until after the flood of Noah. If you must read this book, you must. In the beginning, compelling evidence for creation and the flood by Dr. Walt Brown. Anointed, man of God, revelations on how the flood of Noah worked. Read it. It's online free at creationscience.org. I encourage you to buy a physical hard copy. It's one of the most beautifully laid out books of all time. It's better than any high school textbook or university textbook I ever read in my life. I went so far as to say it's the best book I ever read outside of the Bible when I first read it, because it tells you the reason for everything physically on this planet, including the Grand Canyon, the mountains, the reason we have clouds, the shape of the continents, the continental divide, why there's lava and volcanoes, why there's earthquakes. It'll blow your mind as to how big the flood of Noah actually was. It tells you why there's craters on the moon. I'm not joking, folks. In the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve looked up at the moon and it was perfectly pure white. White as snow, like a snowball in the sky with no craters, no blemishes. That was paradise. That was pure Eden. The craters on the moon are from rocks from the earth that were blasted there by the explosion of the subterranean waters that tore open the earth's crust when God released them in the massive flood of Noah. It says the fountains of the great deep exploded up. And it's true, folks. We have studied like crater debris on the moon and found that, by goodness, there's rock, remnants here from the stuff that we have on planet Earth. How did that happen? It's the flood of Noah. The flood of Noah is not rain clouds overhead. There were no rain clouds before the flood of Noah. The flood of Noah was not rain clouds showing up and dumping somehow. The waters exploded from beneath, massive, like in power and abundance like you could believe, and then in the midst of the explosion happening all around the world, the waters were then torrenting down upon the people. Imagine massive fountains. The earth was literally ripped like a baseball seam. Think of the baseball seam that swirls around a baseball, okay? It was torn, and subterranean waters exploded with massive force from beneath the tearing land masses, and they shot rocks out of the earth's gravity pull. many of which, of course, went all the way to the moon and pummeled the moon and created the craters on the moon, okay? And a true story, folks. You'll get it. You'll be like, oh man. Oh man, this was the biggest event to ever hit planet Earth. And so, before the flood of Noah, there were no clouds in the sky, there was no rain, and the moon was a perfect white snowball-looking element in the sky. There were no craters on the moon. And that makes sense, folks, because God created perfection in the Garden of Eden. There were no scars anywhere on this planet. There were no crazy mountain formations that are... We look at the mountains and we think to ourselves, so majestic. We even have Christian posters everywhere of the mountains, like, you know, of course they're majestic, and of course they proclaim the glory of God, of course. But you try climbing one of those things, you try getting over top of that, you're going to feel pain. You're going to feel the results of sin on the earth. Okay? There were no crazy mountain ranges like we have today before the flood of Noah. This is going to shape your mind. It's going to shape your... It's going to heal the way you think about God. You're going to understand how paradisical Eden was and why the dinosaurs were capable of living and why everything, there was, like, people were bigger back then. Everyone was like, lived longer. There was like more oxygen in the atmosphere from the profusion of trees, and everything was watered through subterranean mist, and it was profuse. Everything was just hyper abundant growth and hyper abundant life. Men and women were all larger, and it was just, you know, it was a separate world. And, but if I can give you some encouraging points, there was perpetual sunshine in Eden, all day, every day, no clouds. What does that tell you about what is healthy for human beings? You should have regular sunshine. Okay? All of creation is reaching, all the trees are reaching for that sunshine. The sunflowers and, you know, the flowers like turn their faces towards it all day long. It's like, you better get out there. Oh, you've got to read that book. I'm telling you, if I haven't whet your appetite to read that book, it's the coolest book you've ever read outside the Bible. I'm pretty sure of it, because it tells you why we have shooting stars. We have shooting stars because of the flood of Noah. You're really interested now. You're like, how in the world is that? Read it. You'll get it. It'll all make perfect sense. We also used to have a perfect 360-day year. Folks, you've got to understand that God created total perfection in Eden. Like, I mean total perfection. There were no blemishes anywhere. There were no craters on the moon. It was a perfect white snowball every single night. And every night was a perfectly starry night. Shooting stars to this day are thought to be omens of death, are associated with death in tribes all over the world. Why? Because there were no shooting stars before the flood of Noah. After the flood of Noah happened, the people would look up into the sky and they'd say, man, there's stars that are shooting through the sky. And it was a reminder to them of the flood of Noah, because that wasn't happening before the flood of Noah. And so that's why they would tell their children, saying, look, the shooting stars, that reminds us of the flood that killed everyone. And that's why to this day, tribes all over the world still look at shooting stars as omens of a curse and death. It's unbelievable how naive we are and how blissful we tend to think. It's like when we look at shooting stars, yes, they're beautiful, but that's actually a result of the flood of Noah. That the whole universe, you know, asteroids are rocks that were blown out of the floodwaters that exploded from beneath the Earth's crust and left Earth's orbit, and now have the perfect, you know, ring trajectory based on the laws of gravity to just stay there forever, you know, in a certain region outside the Earth based on their... And there's the asteroid belt. And so I encourage you to go to creationscience.org. You can read the whole book online, but just buy a physical copy. It's a beautiful book to hold in your hand. You must buy a physical copy. Support the man's work. He's a man of God. Dr. Walt Brown, In the Beginning, Compelling Evidence for Creation and the Flood. It's up to its 8th edition, I believe, now. The man travels the world speaking on this subject. Everywhere he goes, people are astonished, and it's just so awesome. So, all that to say you should get sunshine, because that's the way it was in Eden. Ideally, you'd also get supplemental oxygen when you sleep by means of man inventing something called Eden beds. But I'm just saying, if we want to go back to Eden, that's what we'll start doing, okay? We'll sleep in a higher percentage of oxygen. Okay, anyways. So, where were we? Oh yeah, we were solving Billy Graham. And then Billy Sunday. Oh yeah, and then we got on the word sun. Okay, so we were finding love in Billy Sunday. Well, sun equals love. And then day is 30 points, plus the 2 L's equals another love. So there you go. Done. And that's, so love plus love in Billy Sunday, plus you've got another 27 plus 9. A triple 9 plus 9. There's always just more 9s on top. It's just obvious. So Billy Sunday is love plus 9 plus triple 9. Love plus 45. Literally 99 plus, 45 equals 144, 12 times 12. Done. Billy Sunday, the great preacher. Solved. For the glory of the Triune God. So that's huge. Okay. By the way, we solved Tiger Woods today. Tiger Woods divides by 3. In fact, he's 3 times 3 times 3 times the third prime. Done. So every time someone says that name, they're glorifying the Triune God. Of course, he wears Nike. Nike divides by 3. It equals my full last name. We've solved Adidas a million times. The root of it, German and all that, for the number 3. Very easy. But everything can be solved for the glory of the Trinity. But so I just like to share everything that I receive, because that is righteous. Freely receive, freely give, for the glory of God.